This program was made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Los Angeles might be two of the most evocative words ever printed on a map. L.A. Those two letters can conjure up Orange Grove, or earthquake, or Baywatch faster than a '65 Chevy chugs a tank full of gas. For millions of people who come here from someplace else, California means opportunity, a fresh start, the possibility that anything might happen. And in Los Angeles, one street, more than any other, symbolizes the mythology of this California dream and the journey of the dreamers. I don't know. My name is Randy Newman, and I was born here on the great street, Sunset Boulevard. Sunset Boulevard is located on the west coast of the United States, in Los Angeles County, California. The great street winds 27 miles, spanning 3 area codes and dozens of different neighborhoods. Sunset Boulevard is one of those places the movies would have had to invent if it didn't already exist.
Sunset is a combination of romance and money and fame and sex, and that is a powerful, powerful combination.
The legend is in the people that lived on it, the people that caroused on it, people that crawled out of these prohibition places on their hands and knees. All kinds of things going on, and still is going on. It's a living place.
If I were coming from a distant part of the world, and I wanted to see every stratum of Los Angeles in the shortest period of time, I'd want to be taken on a tour of Sunset Boulevard.
Like a lot of the people who live here, Sunset is humble and hardworking at the beginning. Go further and it gets self-indulgent and a little outrageous. Of course, Sunset Boulevard eventually straightens itself out and grows rich, fat, and respectable. Then, like at the end, it gets real twisted till there's nothing left to do but jump into the Pacific Ocean. But wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Actually, Sunset Boulevard starts over there in the historic heart of old Los Angeles. Sunset Boulevard begins here at Union Station. When it was completed in 1939, it was the last of the great American rail palaces. The ornate train terminals of the 20th century were the modern cathedrals of their day, and Union Station captures that feeling of grandeur. You know, I made my first trip to New Orleans from here when I was a week old.
Union Station was the last great railroad station built in the United States, and it epitomizes Los Angeles. I came through there myself and was very impressed on that August day I got here in 1947.
In its brief heyday, Union Station was the crossroads for servicemen, the starstruck, and folks from the sticks, all fired up with big dreams. But Hollywood never really warmed up to the station, even though it was in its own backyard.
For some strange reason, which I've never quite figured out, film stars always got off in Pasadena. And there they were met by someone from the publicity department of the studio, in a limousine that took them to their home. Always Pasadena.
Today, the station has been restored to its original beauty. And though hardly anyone, besides maybe Aretha Franklin and John Madden, takes a train anymore, Union Station has found new life with tracks, an elegant, unexpected dining spot at its heart. This part of Union Station, the East Portal, is home to LA's long anticipated subway system. They've been talking about building it for 50 years. Riders come up from the ground to see really spectacular architecture and art that celebrates Los Angeles past and present. So Richard, how did this come to be?
Well, basically our team, which included lead artist Mason.
Richard Wyatt's 72 by 20 foot mural puts humanity into the history. And right on this spot, so exactly. who are they?
Yeah, they're like a composite of and cross-cultural view of everybody who sort of contributed to the site. And so, you know, why not express all that history and make it a vision kind of what LA was, past, its present, and its trajectory towards the future as well, too.
It could be.
And, you know, we have
a
like
science fiction element of everybody getting along.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The East Portal is built on land where LA's Chinatown stood until it was bulldozed to build Union Station, which is kind of ironic since huge parts of the Western railroads were laid by Chinese work gangs. While digging the foundation for this atrium, workers unearthed artifacts belonging to the Chinese chased out by the Wreckers Ball in the 1930s. The artists used them in the design.
And these are actual artifacts from Chinatown, the original Chinatown. They actually found somebody's dentures here, you know. So if you can look close here, it actually has a tooth or two left in it, you know. But I think it's kind of a nice touch. It really literally includes the human element, ties in that human element.
That's it. I'm going to experience the humanity of Sunset Boulevard, just like the people who first saw it after a long train ride from someplace back east. And there's only one way to get to the soul of this great street. Here we are, Sunset Boulevard, right up there. This is the beginning, 27 miles to the sea, a little more than the marathon. We're gonna walk it. This is gonna be easy. See, the birthplace of Los Angeles is less than 100 yards down Sunset from Union Station. Here at Alvera Street, a new city began pushing up from the desert 150 years ago. In 1781, 44 Spanish soldiers traveled from what is now called Mexico to establish a colonial outpost. They called it El Pueblo de la Reina de Los Angeles, the city of the Queen of the Angels. The real name is a lot longer, but they didn't think I'd be able to say it. Anyway, ranching was the major occupation of these first settlers, and things were pretty quiet until 1847, when the U.S. claimed the village of Los Angeles after winning the Mexican-American War. Back then, Sunset Boulevard had no name. For more than a century, this great street was just a cow path poking along the base of the Santa Monica Mountains. East Coast transplants, who walked the dirt road, thought it was remarkable that the western sun set into the sea. Maybe that inspired some bureaucrat to officially christen the boulevard Sunset. By 1888, the great street finally had a name, and a legend was born. The modest origins of Sunset and the first central plaza of Los Angeles are now preserved as cultural landmarks. The oldest standing adobe home in the city is still here.
Welcome to Villa Adobe.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. So, what is this? This is the dining room?
Dining room, family room together.
Claire told me that a man named Don Francisco Avila built this traditional adobe house in 1818, 8 years after he became LA's mayor. This home was one of about 80 in a community that was sort of the Palm Springs of its day, a weekend place for wealthy landowners whose ranches were near the La Brea tar pits, about 6 miles west of here. Is this from that time, this chair?
Yeah, you can say that. It's very typical Spanish chair.
Ah, you could do very nicely with a life like this. Of course, nobody lives on Alvera Street anymore. Today it's a tourist area crammed with stalls selling authentic Mexican souvenirs. So I think a lot of them are probably made in Taiwan. But it's also ground zero for big Latino celebrations like Cinco de Mayo. Looking at the plaza, you can tell the people who founded this city had an urban plan, modeled on the idea of a central square. But it only took a few decades for that concept to be steamrollered by real estate developers who invented urban sprawl. As Joan Didion once said, Los Angeles is 60 suburbs in search of a city. To orient you, we are here. It's downtown LA. This is Sunset here, and it comes out here. 27 miles. No one walks. I'm not gonna walk that. Not for what they're paying me. So we'll get a car, okay? From downtown, Sunset heads west through neighborhoods that started as comfortable suburbs with fantasy names like Echo Park and Silver Lake. Right here, there's these are all vacant lots now. There's originally like a bunch of mansions here. And they've tried a bunch of different things. They keep trying to reinvent it and seeing what'll work. You can always put a freeway through like this, that always works.